AI governance. You hear about it all the time, right? It's supposed to be this framework for keeping AI safe and fair. But here's the thing, as companies rush to build these governance platforms, they're running into a huge hidden risk. And it's not in the code, it's in the words they use. So, how do you talk about what you're building with real credibility without creating a whole new set of problems? Well, let's get into it.
So, just how high are the stakes? Well, take a look at this number. $75 million. For a big company, that's the kind of annual risk exposure we're talking about from AI that's not properly governed. Now, that's not just one thing. That's a mix of massive regulatory fines, think tens of millions or even a percentage of your global revenue, plus lawsuits and, just things breaking. It is a massive, massive problem that obviously needs a powerful solution.
And that brings us to the million-dollar question, or in this case, the $75 million question. If you're the one building the platform to fix all this, how do you actually talk about it? How do you sell it? How do you market it without making these huge promises that are going to come back to bite you the second an auditor walks in the door? It's like walking a tightrope between a really strong marketing message and a claim that you can actually defend in court.
Okay, so that leads us right into our first section, promises versus precision. Because the words you choose, well, they're not just marketing fluff. Oh no. In the world of compliance and regulation, your words can become a huge liability. So let's really dig into the difference between making these big, bold promises and using language that's precise and defensible. This right here shows you everything you need to know. On the left, you've got these really risky, absolute statements. Things like guarantees compliance. An auditor would have a field day with that. But now look at the right. Instead of a guarantee, the safer, more precise claim is that the system is designed to support compliance activities. See the difference? Or instead of saying your evidence fault can never be modified, you say it's immutable once sealed, versioned, append-only, and cryptographically verifiable. It means the same thing to a tech person, but to a lawyer, it's a world of difference. It's just as powerful, but it's built to survive scrutiny. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. We're not talking about companies that are faking it or selling vaporware. The tech underneath can be, and often is, fantastic. The substance is there. The problem is the language. It's about getting the precision right, because that precision is what makes the whole thing defensible when it counts. All right, so if you want to be able to make these precise, defensible claims, how do you build a system that backs them up? Well, it all starts with the architecture. So let's peel back that marketing layer for a second and look at how human control gets hardwired right into the foundation of the platform. This is the golden rule. It's the core philosophy, and it's so important. Think of the AI as a world-class assistant. It can organize mountains of data. It can spot patterns a human would miss. It can even draft reports. But it never, ever makes the final call. The decision, the sign-off, the approval, that is always, always left to a human. The AI is a tool in your hand, not a replacement for your brain. And this whole philosophy is enforced by something called a governance stack. You can see the layers here. It starts way down at the infrastructure level and goes all the way up to how your sales team is allowed to talk about the product. At each one of these layers, there are strict rules and boundaries in place to make sure that a human is always in charge. It's a structured, deliberate way to maintain control. And this is probably the most crucial takeaway. Human oversight, or human in the loop, it's not just some nice feature you can toggle on or off. No, it's a hard architectural constraint. That means the system is literally built in a way that prevents it from, say, auto-certifying compliance on its own. The AI simply cannot bypass the human. It's not an option. Okay, so the theory sounds good, right? Human-centric design, all that. But what happens when things actually go wrong? When the fire alarm is blaring? Because talk is cheap. A really well-designed system proves itself in a crisis. So let's walk through a real-world incident. So let's imagine the nightmare scenario. Your company uses an AI tool to screen job applicants, and suddenly, you get an alert. The system is showing a massive, undeniable bias against a specific group of people. A bias spike. This isn't just a technical glitch. This is a full-blown crisis with huge legal and PR fallout. And the clock is ticking. So, what happens next? A playbook kicks in. And look at these steps. There are time-bound goals. The system is built to support this kind of rapid response. Within minutes, containment workflows are triggered. The system immediately enforces a mandatory human-in-the-loop mode, basically putting up guardrails everywhere.
It's all about enabling the human team to mitigate the problem fast within these predefined windows. The whole process is structured, and it's led by people, not machines.
And this brings us right back to that idea of defensible language. See, instead of making a risky promise like, we guarantee a 15-minute fix, which is just asking for trouble, the defensible claim is that the platform is designed to support time-bound responses. One is a guarantee, the other is a capability. And that capability is backed up by a real, actionable playbook, which is exactly what an auditor wants to see. So, you've handled the crisis. Great. But now you have to prove exactly what you did and when you did it. Auditors, regulators, they want proof. And that brings us to the absolute foundation of any trustworthy system, the evidence, the audit trail. How do you make one that's genuinely unbreakable? We hear this word all the time, right? Immutable. It's a huge buzzword. But what does it actually mean to a really skeptical auditor? Because if you just say something can never, ever be modified, that's like waving a giant red flag. It invites this insane level of technical scrutiny. So, what's the definition that actually holds up? This is it. This is what an auditor is looking for. Audit-safe immutability has 3 key ingredients. 1, evidence is versioned. You never overwrite old records, you just create new, updated versions. 2, it's append-only. New information gets added to the end of the log, but sealed records are never changed. And 3, and this is the big one, it's cryptographically verifiable. Basically, every piece of evidence gets a unique digital fingerprint. If anyone tries to tamper with it, even change a single comma, the fingerprint won't match, and you'll know instantly. Now, to take this even one step further, a really solid system can anchor these proofs as what are called W3C verifiable credentials. The simplest way to think about these is like a digital notary. They are tamper-evident certificates for every single action you take. For an auditor, this is gold. It's a secure, ready-to-go artifact that provides cryptographic proof that your governance system is doing exactly what you say it is. Okay, so we've got human control, we've got an unbreakable audit trail. But what if the system could get smarter over time without actually introducing new risks? This is where things get really interesting. Let's talk about a system that learns. Now, this is one of the biggest challenges in AI today. Normally, to make a model smarter, you have to retrain it. But retraining these giant foundation models is incredibly expensive, it takes forever, and you know what? It can introduce all sorts of new and unpredictable problems. So the Holy Grail is a system that can learn on the fly from its day-to-day operations without all that risk.
And here's the clever way to do it. You have your main AI, but you run a smaller, dedicated QA subagent right alongside it. You can think of this little agent as a quality control inspector that's watching everything the main AI does in real time. And its feedback, every pass, every fail, every flag gets instantly recorded in the audit trail. And what this does is it turns a static, boring log into a rich, living audit trail. It becomes this amazing source of data you can use to make improvements, all without ever touching the core foundation models.
This design lets you make an incredible claim, one that is both super powerful and completely defensible. You have a system that genuinely gets smarter every single time it's used without the risk and cost of retraining its foundation models. Every human decision, every automated check, it all becomes a lesson that makes the entire governance process stronger. It is a genuine leap forward. So when you boil it all down, what we've really been talking about here is the fundamental difference between just making a promise about AI governance and actually engineering the proof right into the system, into its architecture, its workflows, and even the very language you use to describe it. And that really just leaves us with one final question to think about. When you look at how your own organization is handling AI, is your credibility built on a solid foundation of defensible engineered proof, or is it all resting on some promising words that might just crumble when they're put to the test?